Under Standing Order 36.
Taoiseach Rishi Sunak enters 10 Downing Street at a time of real strain between our two islands. Strain caused by the Tory government's orchestrated undermining of the Good Friday Agreement and its persistent attacks on the protocol. This self-serving agenda has steeped into the stability of government and power sharing in the north. The Tories facilitated the DUP in using the protocol as a pretext for its boycott of the political institutions following last May's election. The appointment now of a new British Prime Minister can bring an opportunity for a real step change in how Britain engages with Ireland and indeed with our European partners. This can be a chance for a fresh start. The question is, will it be? We need to see relationships based on good faith and a genuine desire for real progress. And certainly for our part, we've contacted Downing Street seeking a meeting with Mr. Sunak as soon as is possible. The new Prime Minister must put a focus and energy into ensuring the implementation of the protocol, the ironing out of outstanding issues and getting the executive in the north back up and running. The protocol is widely supported, it's working, and of course it can work better, and we want to see that happen sooner rather than later. Time is of the essence. The 6-month deadline to form an administration expires on Friday. Sinn Féin stands ready to form an executive for all, ready to work with others to shape a better future, and it's with this objective in mind that the Assembly will sit tomorrow. Our message to the DUP is clear: end your boycott, join with us, work with us together in an executive to tackle the cost of living, to fix the health service and to make people's lives better. Caithfí aontaachtas a thuiscint ní Cilíonn Blockáil an Feidhmnach I mbeidh feirse the Rial Géireach ó London. Is sé an tain rogha eile nó sucrú údarás idir Stát na HÉireann agus Stát na Breataine. Political unionism has to understand that wrecking the institutions of government will not usher in direct rule from London. If the restoration of the executive in Belfast is blocked indefinitely by the DUP, the only alternative would be an arrangement of joint authority between the Irish state and the British state. This is in line with the position taken in 2006 by the Irish and British governments when facing into a deadlock situation. Fractured relationships, Taoiseach, serve nobody. We need partnership and a commitment to make politics work in the interests of the people. Taoiseach, I know that you will speak with the British Prime Minister this evening. I very much hope that the Dáil can maintain a unified stance on the important matters that lie ahead. I have no doubt that you will make clear to Mr. Sunak that his government is a co-guarantor of the Good Friday Agreement, that his government must play a constructive role in implementing the protocol through a negotiated settlement. No doubt you will make clear that the North's democratic institutions must be restored as a matter of priority, and in the event that they are not, that direct rule from London is off the table. Taoiseach, can I ask you, has the Irish government engaged with your British counterparts to prepare for joint authority arrangements should the formation of an executive continue to be blocked? And could you tell us what stage these preparations are at?
Cogóidegus le príomh-aire nua na Breataine Rishi Sunak as ocht bheith tofa mar príomh-aire agus cuimh gach rath agus é ag obair son mhuintir na Breataine. Beg mé caint leis níos déanaí mar a dúirtú agus beg mé rá leis gur bhfuil géargá ón anois caint na substantiúil a chuir a bhaim agus a chosú leis an Eorop le Aontas na Heorpa agus rialtas na Breataine. Agus mar aon lei sin tá géargá ón anois na institiúidí sa túisceart a thabhairt ar ais culua is féidir agus láithreach in our era. First of all, congratulate the new British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak on his election, and I look forward to having the opportunity to engage with him later today. And what has sustained this House over the last difficult period since Brexit happened has been the unity of purpose in terms of Ireland's fundamental aims and objectives. We were never supporters of Brexit, but we respect the decision of the British people to decide to leave the European Union. And the issues that have arisen from that decision have clearly not been resolved, namely the relationship between Britain and the European Union, and also the British-Irish relationship, and more specifically, the continuation of the trading relationship between Europe and Britain and how that impacts on Northern Ireland. The protocol was designed to deal with that trading relationship. And from my engagement with industry in Northern Ireland and in businesses in Northern Ireland, particularly in manufacturing, in the food industry, they have said that the protocol has been very beneficial. In fact, the food industry have said that the proposed legislation, or the legislation, that's going through the Lords at the moment, given the dual regulatory framework of that legislation, would be injurious to our food industry. In other words, it would disrupt the integrity of the food chain from beginning to the end onto the market, and could have very serious consequences for the food industry. So I have said to the previous Prime Minister Liz Truss, who, to be fair, did indicate to me a resolve to get these issues decided between Europe and Britain through negotiation. I will hope that the incoming, or the new Prime Minister will equally believe in that idea, that negotiation is the preferred option in terms of resolving the issues around the protocol. And Europe stands ready. I've had regular engagement with President von der Leyen, with Vice President Šefčovič. I'm in no doubt that Europe stands ready to be flexible in terms of all matters pertaining to the protocol. And also in the context of the geopolitical difficulties that we're facing across Europe, with the first war on the continent of Europe since World War II, the need for like-minded countries, the United Kingdom, the European Union, the United States and Canada, Japan and so forth, to be together in dealing with that issue. That really puts the issue of the protocol in context and the necessity to get it resolved. I've made it clear to the DUP that they should come back into the Assembly, facilitate the restoration of the Assembly and the Executive. It is a denial of democracy not to do so. I've been very consistent since the election that the results of the election should be vindicated. The people have voted, and the results should be reflected in the composition of the Executive, First Minister, Deputy First Minister positions, and the operation of an Assembly. I've held that position for a long, long time. In previous periods when the Executive was taken down or stopped the meeting and so on for various reasons, I called it out then, and I'll call it out now. When people elect their representatives, they expect the Parliament to be elected. In relation to what happens in the event of no election, no restoration, the British-Irish Intergovernmental Conference kicks in and the Good Friday Agreement provides for meetings of that in respect of close consultation with the Irish Government in terms of matters pertaining to Northern Ireland. We'll back the supplementary later on that.
So I have absolutely no doubt, Taoiseach, that Europe is ready and indeed has been ready and has shown remarkable flexibility in dealing with the issues of concern around the protocol. But just to reiterate, the protocol is widely supported and it is working, as you have attested to and have witnessed from your conversations with various sectors north of the border. I too hope that we get to a position where we have a functioning executive, where we have a First Minister for all and a functioning Assembly. That's where this needs to land. But I think it is absolutely essential that everybody understands that the alternative to that is not a return to direct rule from London. And I think we need to be very upfront and frank with our unionist colleagues in that regard. Taoiseach, can I ask you just to elaborate in the minute that you have available to you in respect of the British-Irish Intergovernmental Conference, that partnership relationship, how you envisage that functioning in the event that there is a failure on the part of political unionism to help us re-establish the executive and have a functioning Assembly?
First of all, we want the institutions restored, and I make that plea to the DUP. But the Good Friday Agreement does provide for meetings of the British-Irish Intergovernmental Conference to promote bilateral cooperation on matters of mutual interest and to consider non-devolved Northern Ireland matters, and it makes provision for the Irish Government to put forward views and proposals, recognising the Irish Government's special interest in Northern Ireland. And this is in recognition of that special interest that we have. Now, in the event that there is a sustained period with no functioning of the Northern Ireland Executive or the Assembly, there cannot be a return to the direct rule arrangements of the past. And the Government will fully pursue its consultative role under the Good Friday Agreement. That is the position that we will exhaust every possibility within that framework if there is a sustained period of absence of the Executive or the Assembly.